Well, hello YouTubers, and welcome back to the whole special channel and another Bro Shop episode in the Zerks Wheels series. Today we're going to be installing the knives in the joiner. We'll be showing you the correct setup, how to proceed. Now, this is going to be specific to this machine. However, some of the principles here are going to apply to any other joiner as well. The major difference here is that we have elevation screws to pull the knives in and out of the head. Other heads have either springs installed, or you would have to use a gauge to install the knives, or in this case we're going to be using this machinist square, and you could use that with other machines as well. As a matter of fact, it's probably a preferable tool to use with. So anyway, we'll get right into it. I've got the GoPro here, and so the tools that we're going to be needing today are pretty basic. It's just a small 10 millimeter or in this case like a 3/8 open-end wrench for the Gib screws, and this machinist square, and that's all we're going to need in order to set the knives today. Well, a screwdriver too for the elevation screws. So anyway, let's get on with the show here. We're going to start by taking off the fence. I'll do that off camera, and then we'll bring the camera around, get some close-ups. Okay, we want to start by sticking one of the Gibs into the groove here. Then we're going to stick our, oops, didn't mean to bump the camera there. Stick a knife in here, and we're going to put one of the elevation screws in behind the camera here. You won't see that just right off the get-go. This is going to be kind of a tricky one here. So now with both knives installed here, we're going to take our feeler gauge, rotate the head back, and see that we got enough resistance here that we're still clearing the bottom of the table here underneath, and not chewing the knives into the bottom of the table. Now we give these all just a little bit of attention, just a little bit. Now if you have a machine that doesn't have these elevator screws left and right, what you can do is pull the knife up a little bit, just to, you know, strike the underside of this, and then just roll it back against the table until it pushes the knife back in and places it where it needs to be. You just want a little bit of tension on these screws. You don't want much. And so the same thing on the other side. We got just enough tension. And now we're ready to check our, oops, this one's got a little bit too much on here. So let's loosen our Gib screws up just a touch on this side, and roll the knife back into the, there we go. Just want it enough to touch. Now this is counterintuitive. You definitely, oops, let's loosen this one up a little more. There we go. So now we can touch, there, turn this back up just until they touch, and put just a little bit of tension on there, not much, just a fingertip. And so we've got a little bit of tension here. This looks good on this side. So now we're ready for our square. So we need to release our brake for the rear table. That's right over here. And then underneath here we have a set screw that adjusts the elevation on the table. So we'll be adjusting the elevation on the table to our knives. So we'll first check it. Okay, we're lifting the square ever so slightly. So we want to raise it up until it just barely touches. So we can hear it scraping. That's all you want for right now. Okay, didn't take long, finally got it. So you can hear, hopefully you can hear that, where the knife is making contact with the square. So now the next step is to tighten up all the gib screws. So counterintuitive, you want to screw these guys out because you're pushing against the head here. Now you can start tightening it. I'm just snugging these up for right now, but when you go to torquing them, you definitely want to do it, start in the middle, like on a cylinder head of a car, and back and forth. So you don't want to get them too tight because these are pretty small screws. These are an M5, so that's like a 3/16 screw. So we're going to snug them up. These guys are already snug, so now we're going to go ahead and torque them. So we'll start here in the middle. So now those are all torqued up, and to recheck again just for shits and giggles. Okay, we lost contact here. There's still contact there. There's still contact there. Maybe we got some crud here on the table that we're not aware of. Let's check again. Okay, we got contact. So as you can see, we've got a little bit of contact here. You can hear it scraping. Let me put the microphone right up against it here so you can hear that. Let me put it on the back side here. And you can see we got a little bit of lift here. So now, as is with most of these machines, you're going to have a direction of rotation, and you want to bring your work in against that rotation so it doesn't. It seems kind of counterintuitive, but if you were to bring it in from the other way, it's going to pull it out of your hand and shoot it across the room, and we don't want to do that. So let's pull this back a little bit, grab our stick, and so as you can see, we've got a fairly decent cut here. Now these marks right here are for the recirculation of wood chips. It always pays to have a suction system. This is just gravity feed, and so it has a tendency to recirculate the chips and leave these strange looking marks in the surface of the wood. That's what that is. Well, YouTubers, as you can see, this wasn't a big to-do on how to get these knives put in. Now, machines that don't have elevation screws or springs that utilize gauges, there's a set of blocks or what would you call it? A magnet. There's different ways of installing knives. Now you don't necessarily need these things to get the knives in there. You can do it like I showed, with the feeler gauge. Just put a little bit of, just ever so slightly of tension on either side, on the screws on the outside of the head, so that way the knife can still move as it gets pressure, but yet doesn't damage the cutting surface and dull the knife, but yet doesn't push it in too far to where it actually slips out. So that's the only thing you have to watch for. It's kind of a tricky thing, practice makes perfect. So if you have any thoughts, comments, critiques, or suggestions or questions to this topic, by all means, put them in the comment section below. So with that, thanks for stopping by. Thanks for watching. And we hope to see you all again soon in the next video.